Oh boy, another XRP and SEC Ripple lawsuit update. Let's get into it. 𝗕𝗓𝗠𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 has filed a complaint against the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia to force the agency to comply with a December 2022 Freedom of Information Act FOIA request. The complaint is about conflicts of interest and sensitive enforcements by former senior SEC official William Hinman regarding cryptos such as Ripple and Ethereum. Hinman has been an important figure in the ongoing Ripple versus SEC, or more importantly, SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, as documents containing some positions he took about crypto some years back has been strongly demanded by the public. In August of 2021, a detailed FOIA request was submitted to the SEC by 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 to demand all crypto-related communications between senior SEC officials and their former and future employers. And that's quite an important one. According to reports, Hinman received millions of dollars from his former employer around the time that he was giving SEC enforcement decisions concerning cryptocurrencies. Hinman is known to have said that on record that Ethereum is not a security. And interestingly enough, his former employer is also known to be part of the group that promoted the digital asset. Meanwhile, SEC also declared in enforcement action that other similar assets are unregistered securities. So, 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 in December 2021 complaints against the SEC. So basically, 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 filed a complaint against the SEC in December 2021 to force them to provide responsive documents to the FOIA requests. And the SEC's failure to provide any transparency on the issue is making a very bad situation look even worse. We're approaching 2 years since 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 has made the initial FOIA request, and a year and a half since their first lawsuit. Yet the SEC has consistently stonewalled any attempt to shed light on these clear conflicts of interest at the agency. The new suit against the SEC should force the SEC to do some searches it knows it must do under the law to give the public the answers that they are looking for. In February this year, 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, if I can get my words out, filed a motion with Judge Torres in the Southern District of New York to gain access to documents containing Hinman's 2018 speech on cryptocurrency. And this was strongly supported by 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘. The SEC has consistently stonewalled any attempts from the public interest transparency organizations, including 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, to shed light on conflicts of interest and ethical questions at the agency. The public deserves answers from the SEC as to what exactly the agency knew about Hinman's speech, and more importantly, when they knew it. This comes at a point when the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit is coming to an end. Brad Garlinghouse recently said that he expects closure on this within the next 6 months, or by the court in 6 months. So, within 6 months is kind of where I go with that. And John Deaton, a pro XRP and Ripple lawyer, has responded to 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘's complaint, stating that the SEC is clearly hiding the truth. While admitting that the SEC has some good points working for them, Deaton believes that the leadership is just simply corrupt. And I totally agree, and I know Chris does as well. So the SEC versus Ripple, the case is heating up. We're seeing things kind of coming to a bit of a close, and we can see that the SEC is under a spotlight, and rightfully so. It's corrupt through and through and has been for many years. So it'd be good to kind of shed some light on what is actually going on there. But XRP, what is going on here with the price action of XRP, and is this case, when it comes to an end, going to be the rocket that so many XRP holders have been looking for years and years and years. The SEC creating billions of dollars worth of damage across multiple different cryptocurrencies, XRP included. I think it would be a nice silver lining to see a bit of a run to this one when that case does come to an end. It's been years in the making. I do think that Gary Gensler will be, unfortunately, the one who's going to be taking the fall on the knife, but I think he should do the right thing. He should fire all senior members before resigning, if he doesn't get fired himself, of course. Let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments below. Let's take a look at the price action of XRP, because I still think we have a bullish setup here, which is going to take a little bit longer before we actually see this one take off, but I do think we're getting somewhere quite close. We can see that we have these lower highs and lower lows, and these do have a tendency to break upwards. You can see this one down here, for example, where we didn't have it as steep. We were testing the low side a little bit, and then we kind of got ourselves a bit of a move to the upside. This side here, we are looking to run this one down. It does look like this is a strong area to think about reversal to the upside. There is a lot of buying pressure right inside here, right where we are right now, and down a little bit deeper as well. So don't be too surprised if we do have to have a little bit of a move to the downside here, specifically around that fair value gap that we see on the chart, around 39 cents. Ultimately, though, I am looking for a bit of a move to the upside, and that move to the upside, I think, will be taking us above 58 cents, more towards 60, and it'll be interesting to see where that goes from there. So all in all, it's looking pretty progressive and pretty good at this point in time, and we could be thinking about a bit of a move on XRP's price action to the top. Now, or at least up above here anyway. This would still be just under the guise that the case hasn't concluded, and if it is 6 months down the line, we can have a nice pullback, nice corrective structure, and then another run to the upside afterwards. And I do think when that case comes to an end, we're going to see very, very significant gains overall. Now, if I bring up my larger structures here and pull this down, we can take a look at what we think is going on over a much larger time frame. This is a daily chart, of course, and we can still see that we have a long way to potentially go here on the price action. So if I bring this up and I pull this down here on the fib levels, okay, because we are looking at this as a 3-wave corrective structure, but we might end in a 5-wave move. Basically, we're taking an impulsive structure towards the end. This will basically push us up towards the 1 and the 1.236, and looking at the chart, this will be a nice area to see the price action of XRP kind of go out and reach towards. This is $5.85 to $11.79, and I do think the selling pressure when you get up into this range is going to be pretty high. Okay, so again, it'll be a new all-time high. It'll be pushing up in towards that $10 and $10 range, a little bit higher than $5.85, for example. Those numbers are going to be pretty significant to many investors who have held XRP for quite some time. And of course, if we're lucky, we can see this maybe overextend and hit some of those higher levels, but it's unexpected at this point in time. For the most part, we should just be thinking this is a nice corrective structure that will see some pretty decent gains, but I don't expect us to kind of move up into another kind of, really big, bullish, kind of impulsive 5-wave structure. Not until we see a natural correction first. Now, I could be wrong on that. I'd be happy to be wrong on that. So I'm going to say, I'd love to see a XRP price move up $50, $100, $500 and whatever dollars. I just can't see it at this point in time. So we'll track that as that kind of comes around. At the moment, $5.85 I think is a pretty decent price, but $11.79 would be ever so slightly sweeter. And we'll see how things kind of play out. So ultimately, I do see the price action of XRP playing out quite nicely, very similar to what we saw with Kin token. And it doesn't really matter what we think or whether, the SEC win, whether Ripple win, whether it ends in settlement. It generally doesn't matter. The only thing that really matters is there's clarity that is provided to XRP. And that status is either going to be security or not security. That's the main takeaway here. That's what we're looking for. Once you have clarity, you're actually able to transact using XRP, or exchanges are able to list XRP and actually abide by the law within their jurisdictions. So it's really vital for the US to give that clarity, not just for XRP, but for the wider crypto market as well. We've seen the SEC doing all sorts of different accusations, whether, 𝗲𝗄𝗯 as a security or whatever, right? And I think essentially what we've got to kind of acknowledge here is that the SEC are just throwing mud and seeing what sticks. And for the most part, I think that's very, very poor leadership that needs to disappear. Ultimately, I think once clarity is provided to cryptocurrencies, the US are able to actually, list things and transact on digital assets abiding by the law of the jurisdictions, which will have a profound effect. We saw this with the KIN token when it was listed as a security, and we saw very, very significant gains ever since that kind of launched out. Now, that was October 2020. We went into a bull run in 2021, so circumstances and timing of that was very, very good for the KIN token, but we saw very, very significant gains the day that it got clarity. And I think we're going to see very, very, very significant gains when XRP gets its clarity as well, because, well, it's just a much, much, much larger community behind XRP than there is around KIN, and KIN saw very significant gains. So I think XRP will do significantly more. And so therefore, I think the price action here is going to be really hard to gauge based on technicals that we see at the moment. We really need to see what happens once that clarity is provided, because those structures, and as they start to emerge, are the ones that are really going to be predictive over where we're going to end up. But I like to think about $5.85 to $11 as a nice round number, or a nice range that we can kind of get into. But I think later down the line, once we have clarity, everything will become so much clearer as to where we are heading. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments down below. Do you agree that the SEC are corrupt through and through, and that Hlamin was paid millions of dollars, coincidentally, from one of the promoters of Ethereum, and that speech that he gave saying Ethereum wasn't a security? Do you think he is... Jay Clayton was paid to drop the lawsuit on Ripple, and was there an aim and an ambition to suppress the price action of XRP and all these things? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. If you found it useful, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, and don't forget to join us down in Discord. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day. We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.